Hello everyone, starting from today, I'm gonna have a couple videos on Power BI and I'm gonna provide you tutorials on how to create reports, dashboards, or visuals with Power BI. So this is totally fine if you have no background at all for data analytics. I have already made a video touch on why I'm doing this, why Power BI is worth learning, and also how you can download it for free from the web. So from today on, I'm just going to dive right into the business and I'm going to show you one topic per video. Okay, so the first topic that I want to cover is how to make a waterfall chart. So I have, as you see, I have already made a video before of how to make a waterfall chart with Excel. And I have a link below in case you're interested. So basically, if we go back to the source file, this is a chart that we made in Excel. And basically, we have to make some additional columns in order to, like, for example, you see I have some helper columns here to help me to make this chart. So this is how I made it in Excel. You can watch that video for more details on how to make it. And I'm going to show you how to make this in Power BI now. Okay, so let's say we still have the same scenario. So it is to show our compensation expense over the year. So we start with certain amount, starting payroll, and in each of the quarters we spend additional money to it, and then at the end of the year we spend. This is our total compensation expense, and this is our data. Okay, so now let's prepare the data that we need for the Power BI visuals. So still, it's actually similar to what we had for Excel. So you still have the time. Those are the label on the x-axis. And you will have two columns. One is the total and one is the variance. So for example, you start with 100K, and then for each of the quarter you increase those amounts. So actually your total will be the sum of those two columns, two numbers, and then you kind of drag the formula down. And then for Q4, at the end of Q4, you should have 245, which is equivalent to the year-end payroll amount. So basically, that's all the source data that you need. So now let's open a new, brand new Power BI desktop. What we need to do is actually go back to our Excel, copy our data, just go Control C, and then go to enter data. So enter data is where you can manually input data. We can always get data from an Excel file, CSV file, anything, but the simplest way to do visuals in Power BI is to just enter data. So click on that. This is how you're going to show. You're going to create a table here. So remember that we have already selected everything, including our header. So click on the column 1, Control V, and then you can see everything is already pasted in here. So you do have the chance to rename your table. So let's say I want to name my table compensation expenses. You can do as whatever you need, and then you load in the data. So our data is quite small, so it should take quite short time to load, as you can see here. So 6 rows loaded. If you want to check the data, you can click on this table icon on the left. It's working on it. And then you can see our data is actually already pasted in here. One thing that you can do is actually to change the data type for your data. So for example, in our, you can see Power BI already automatically converted everything to the data type they believe are the best, but you have the opportunity to change them to whatever you need. So you can see it's also listed. The table name is on the right hand side on the field, and then all the fields that we just pasted in are also here. So let's check, because for our purpose we do want both the total and the variance numbers to be number format. So now we select the total column, check the data type. We want it to be whole number. It can be decimal numbers, dates. We want it to be number, whole number. And we want to have the comma to make the format as desired, and we don't want to have any decimal space. And then now that's a desired format. Let's go to variance. So you know what, actually when we import this column data, Power BI actually thought it's text, and that's not desirable. We want to change it to a whole number as well. So it's going to ask you to confirm if we want the data type change. We do. We cannot automatically convert the column. Okay, so if that happens, what you need to do is actually go back to the home page and go to the transform data. So this is where you open up your Power Query editor. And then you can see here you have the original table. In your total table looks right because it shows 1, 2, 3. That's your data type. But then for your variance, it's showing ABC, which means that Power BI think it's text. So right click, choose a column, right click, and change type. For your change type, for our purpose, change it to whole number. Add a new step. You can see one number is not recognized because it's on arrow, but that's okay. And then we can just close it. Okay. The arrow is that one empty space, which is fine. We can ignore it. So it's that one. So now when we go back to the table column and I want to confirm the data type, it's now showing whole number. And we want the format to have the 1000 divider as well. Okay, so now the data format is good. Let's come back to this blank space. So now we want to create a waterfall chart. So in here, there are so many things to do, and then we will touch on them later on when of what everything means, what they're used for. But just for our very purpose today, which is creating the waterfall chart, you just go to visualization and then click on this icon, which will also show you waterfall chart. So click on it. You can see it gives you a placeholder here which has no number to it, right? So now let's input a number to it. To do that, you see the field has all the number that we want, that we just inputted. We wanna have the time as the x-axis, so we drag the time to under visualization and under category. So you have the time as it, and then drag the variance to the values. And here you go. So this is the visual that we wanna create for the visualization. So as you see, oh, actually you see like we are actually missing the beginning. So we have all the quarters, we have the total, but we are missing the beginning. So you know what, we want to change the source data. So how do we do that? Go to transform data. So still go back to our Power Query editor. Okay, so now let's try to change this cell into 100K. So to do that, you go back to this Power Query editor, and then on the right hand side, apply steps, go to source. When you double click source, the source table is going to show up, and then here is the opportunity to change it to something that you want. So in our case, it's the variance, and actually we don't need the additional column, so we say okay. So now you can see the number is added in, and then we close and apply. And then after that, you see our variance table is updated. So now let's go back to our chart. Voila, we have the starting payroll chart ready here. The chart is still not perfect because you can see it's actually adding the Q4 first. And that's okay. We are gonna make the adjustments to it by go to more option on the top and then sort ascending, and then sort by time. Here we go. So now it's starting, it shows our starting payroll, it shows Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and then the total. So let's say if just for format reason, if we want it to be the same color as everyone's thing else, what you need to do is go to this row bar, which says format, and then select your visual, select your visual first, and then go to the format bar, and then you can see sentiment color, open it. So it's going to show that your increase is going to show as green, decrease shown as red, which we don't have anything, so we don't show, and your total has been defaulted as blue. If we want to be the same color as, like, say, the increase, what you can do is just go to recent color, and then it's going to change to the same color. And then let's say I don't want this title. So what I can do is you see the title here, I can either turn it off or I can turn it on, and I expand it, and then I have input my own title. So let's say compensation expenses report. Yeah, and I can input my own special titles in here, and I can adjust the format as well. Also, one last thing is that I want to show label to it. So you see the data label under format, it's off. I can show it. I can turn it on, and then it's going to automatically show things as 100K, and 245K. You can also change the format for it. For example, if I want to show just numbers, I don't want to show them in thousands, I can go to display units, go to now. It's going to show the actual number, and then I can choose to show how many decimal point space I want as well. Okay, cool. So actually, this is how you can create a waterfall chart in Power BI, which looks a lot nicer. And you can also customize the same way as you do in Excel. And it's also very easy to create as well. So now the last thing I want to show you is what if we want to export this. So let's say we have this file. We want to export it to PDF or PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you here. So you go to a file and export. It's going to allow you to export to PDF. So if you just want to export to PDF, let's see how it looks. And voila, here is how it looks. So this is just going to be your PDF file that you can share with everyone else, and you can save it to whatever you like. However, if you want to convert this to a PowerPoint format, what you need to do is actually to publish it. And I will show you how to do this. Like, you actually cannot do it from export here if you just have the free account. I'll show you how to do it. You can still export to PowerPoint format even with a free account. You just need to publish it. So to do that, let's say this is our visual that we want to share. We publish. We need to save it first. So save it as, like, say, waterfall chart. It's been saved. I want to publish to Power BI, my workspace. It's going to ask you to sign in. I replace because I already done it. I just need to replace with a new one. If you have not signed in yet, I think Microsoft is going to ask you to create a new account. But once you create a new account, you can still do everything I do here with a free account. So now you see it's published to Power BI. Open the waterfall chart. This is how you're gonna show it. So since it's a free account, you're not gonna be able to share it with everyone else, but you are able to use it for your own. Okay, so so this is how it's gonna look like in in Power BI with a link. And if you want to export it, so here is where you can do it. So you go to export, and then you can choose to print it, PDF or PowerPoint. So let's say we want to export to PowerPoint. So we want to export this one chart. Okay, so once it's done, it's going to pop up and ask you to save it. So I will save it as waterfall chart. Save it, and here we go. So now let's open it and see what it has for us in the enable editing. So I actually don't know why, but Excel just automatically gives you a cover page. I guess it doesn't hurt, but really what you need is this one chart. So essentially, Excel, basically Microsoft Power BI is giving you one screenshot for this chart. So this is one way to do it, and of course, you can always just screenshot this and then put it in your PowerPoint. I think it looks very good as well. One thing I also like in Microsoft PowerPoint is that is this design idea. So let's say you have this chart with essential information, but you want it to look nicer. You click on this design idea, and then just based on what you have, Microsoft or Power BI, PowerPoint might give you some idea to present it. You can see like maybe I can present it like this, or I can see more presentation idea. I can have different background. I can have different format. Basically, it has a lot of ways to make it look professional and nice, and I really appreciate it because we all know that the information itself is most critical, but you also want it to be presented in a professional look. And the best part is that everything here is pretty much free. Yeah. Okay, so that is basically how you can export it to PowerPoint. I have shown to you how to create a waterfall chart in Power BI, which I believe looks a lot nicer than what I did in Excel. So it's a free tool. I would definitely prefer the better looking one, of course. So I would definitely encourage you to try it yourself as well. And in the next videos, I'm going to show you more tricks of how you can use Power BI to make your work look better and better. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you like it. If you have any question, please leave me a comment and I will talk to you very soon.